Good evening, everyone. My name is Alvin Williams. I'm a student at CTU Online in the doctoral program as a Doctor of Management. Tonight we'll be discussing this Unit 3 on selecting dynamic methods for OD change and change processes. My instructor is Dr. James Maddox. This model that I chose tonight is from Lewin back in the 1940s, and it's a very simple model that holds true currently today. In Kirk Lewin's model, it is known as the unfreeze process and change process and refreeze process, which reference three stages of process of change that is described. It's interesting to note that Kirk Lewin is a one-time physics and social scientist. He provided skills and techniques to explain organizational change by using an analogy of changing the shapes of a block of ice. In this illustration, he shows the block of ice that if it's in this form or stage, it is solid. Once it is melted, it becomes a liquid form or an ice form of liquid water. But at the next stage in the process, it either be changed into another form, such as in a cone-shaped form of an ice cube, which we have here. In this process, you saw that the block of ice, after it starts unfreezing, it immediately changes its form or shape and size. However, it can be refreezed to some other shape, like that we saw as a cone shape in that type of form, showing the process has been changed. So we can use this process to identify with organizational change. Here we want to mold the ice, the water, back into a shape which is in the change form state. And then finally we want to solidify that shape by refreezing it into the cone shape. The first stage of the process of implementation in the process of unfreeze is that a first stage of change is involved, representing the preparation of the organization to accept that change as necessary, which involve breaking down and removing such things as the status quo prior to building up a new way of operating in the organization. In my rationale decision, it shows that the existing way of doing things cannot no longer continue, and things have to change in a way that everyone can benefit and understand. In the second stage of the process, that Lewin shows that we can implement change at this stage after there is some uncertainty created in the unfreeze stage. The change stage is where people, or representing that people, start to resolve their uncertainty and start to really seek the new ways of things that has been changed. People start to believe and act in ways that support the new direction of the organization. So therefore it realized that the unfreeze to change takes time, and it doesn't just happen overnight. There is one key point throughout the process to carry away with or take away from this analogy, and that is that people must understand how changes will benefit them. However, the commonality that is found in a pitfall is that an organization, that some people feel that the organization, just because they're making these changes and it is necessary, that it only benefit the organization. which is a common assumption. But we must avoid that possibility. And now in the final stage of the process by Lewin, it implements the refreeze process. And at this stage, when change is taking place or taking shape, people have embraced new ideals in the working. And then the organization is ready to refreeze. That is in that stage. Now, there is some outward evidence that shows that the refreeze process are a stability and stable by the organization chart and the consistency of the job description and so forth. The rationale behind this is that it will help people and the organization internally and externally by institutionalizing these changes, which mean that we have to make sure that the changes are utilized all the time and that change are regulated into everyday business. Therefore, with a new sense of stability, employees will feel confident and comfortable with new ways of working. As part of the refreezing process, we want to make sure that we celebrate with the success of the changes and to help people to find a closure. Showing them, celebrating with them for enduring such a hard seasonal process of change that has been painful. This will help them to believe that future changes will be successful in the organization. Now, there's also changes in the management process that is made of 5 cycles. The 5 cycles that we find in this process are made of 1, request for change, 2, impact of analysis, 3, the approve and diary. And the next cycle is the implementation of change, which is a 4th change in the cycle. And the last change in the cycle of the change management process is review and reporting. Those are the 5 cycles of change management process. And as you will notice in the illustration that we showed, this is how the process will look, as we demonstrated earlier with the block ice in that first stage of process as it unmelts, and then it goes into the liquid form, and then it can be refreezed into the form of the cone. And then we see the change of management and process in the cycle that it goes in. So with that in mind, this should be a successful model for an organizational change and intervention. I appreciate all your time and your efforts and appreciate listening to this discussion. Thank you, Dr. James Mathers, for your instruction and for your direction. Everyone have a good night. Thank you.